Has this trip been a success for him and Meghan, or more of a failure?
It has certainly not been the trip they envisaged. Harry still has that kind of credit in the bank with the British public. It is different for Meghan. You're either Team Sussex or you're not. The King does want to heal those wounds with Harry. It's a very different story when it comes to William. Invictus Australia has pulled its funding. There were questions over the Vancouver costs being so high and whether it was really worth it.
William does have an appetite to strip them of their titles, and he could punish Harry and Meghan with that one move.
There is a lot of hurt and distrust. It's done some damage to the royal family. Been some very damaging allegations.
Do you think Harry wants to move back to the UK? Hello and welcome to today's very special episode of the Daily Expresso. I'm JJ and today I'm joined by my friend, journalist and royal correspondent, commentator, expert, the real queen of the UK, I would say. It's Sarah Hewson.
I love that introduction. Thank you.
So I'm going to get straight into it with you. Harry's been back.
Yes.
He was in and out like a tornado. Has this trip been a success for him and Meghan, or more of a failure?
It has certainly not been the trip they envisaged.
Mm-hmm.
This was meant to be all about the Invictus Games. It was meant to be about the Well Child Awards. It was meant to be about drawing attention to those causes. And it was also meant to be about family rapprochement, healing those wounds. And it was anything but. It got off to a terrible start on Monday when we got the suggestion from Harry that his spokesperson said he's going to stay at Buckingham Palace, and instantly we had a denial from Buckingham Palace. Not known to be pretty quick to respond usually, but very quick in that regard to say, actually, no, he's not. Yeah. He's not staying here. That's completely wrong. And so we ended up in this he said, she said debacle about what had been going on. From Harry's side, he was trying to sort out his security arrangements for the whole of the previous week. By the time he confirmed that he was staying at the palace, he was told it was too late. From Buckingham Palace's side, they had given him a deadline. They had said Friday night deadline. Saturday morning, he had declined in writing. Later on that day, he had then accepted, by which point the staff had been stood down and he was told, sorry, it's too late. You can't stay. But there's obviously a lot more to it than that.
Yeah, because literally, how difficult is it? I know people are saying, oh, there's protocol and they've got to get the rooms ready. Surely it's Buckingham Palace. There's some staff in that place at all times. Yeah. So really, this felt to me like the royal family trying to make an example of him.
Well, I agree with you. Look, it is Buckingham Palace. It's not operating as normal at the moment because it's still undergoing refurbishment. Nobody's actually living there. So the staff are moved around and they make plans for those staff. So that's the kind of official point on that. I think, though, the case against Associated Newspapers was a big factor in this because Harry had asked to stay on the Tuesday, on the day that he was due to get his judgment in the privacy case against Associated Newspapers. And it had been made clear that he was going to make a statement afterwards from an undisclosed location. Now, it wasn't going to be a good look for Buckingham Palace, whatever he said. And actually, as it came out, that statement was excoriating, wasn't it? Prince Harry describing it as a complete and utter whitewash, highly critical of the judge, but also the whole judicial system, which operates under his father's name, His Majesty's courts. Yeah. And so Buckingham Palace, yes, they got fed up with the dithering and they wanted to distance themselves from that. But I do agree, on the surface of it, you can't find a room in this vast place and you can't find anyone to make up a bed for him. Yeah. It didn't look great. I don't think anyone looked great.
He did get to meet his father when he was over here. Any intel on that meeting? What went down? What was said?
No intel whatsoever, which is exactly the point at JJ, because part of the problem with this family rift and why it's so hard to heal it is the fear of leaks, the lack of trust that there exists. And so this meeting was done on the proviso that there was no talking about it. There were no statements. There were no photographs. We haven't got this big family photograph of the reunion between Harry and his father, Meghan and the grandchildren there as well. I mean, the King has let it be known, whatever has been said, whatever has been done, that the door was always open for Harry. Ultimately, blood is blood. He is his son, and they are his grandchildren. He hasn't seen Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet since June 2022.
Crikey.
The Queen's Platinum Jubilee. And that was only the first time that he'd met Lilibet.
Yeah.
So this was his second meeting with his granddaughter. And it was a private meeting. It took place at Highgrove in Gloucestershire, significant location, not at Windsor, bit too close to comfort to the Waleses.
Yeah.
Highgrove, Harry's childhood home where he grew up, could show his children the old haunts, his old tree house, for example.
Yeah.
Very private. There was also a Chanel lunch going on that occasion. So there were lots of cars coming and going.
Yeah.
And that enabled Harry and Meghan and the children to get in undetected and out again. And it was only when the palace announced it officially that we knew it had happened. And that's exactly how they wanted the choreography to work.
So I was told Meghan really wanted the picture. She wanted a photograph of the kids with granddad, grandpapa, and that would be like a signal to the world of, look, we are still royals. But she didn't get that. Or if she did get it, we're never going to see that photograph.
We're never going to see that photograph. Not if there's to be any chance of longer term healing and them being brought back in from the cold. We don't know whether there was a photograph or not. I think it's probably unlikely. This was like a very tentative step. We know that Harry has seen his father now on a couple of occasions, the last one being in September of last year. This is the first time Meghan's been back here since the late Queen's funeral. We didn't know whether she was coming at all. I mean, she was meant to be taking part last week in some of Harry's engagements.
Yep.
She should have been in Birmingham on Friday at the 1 year to go to the Invictus Games event at the NEC. She wasn't there. I think there's a lot of reasons why she wasn't, security being the primary one. Harry's always made it clear, not safe to bring my wife and children back here unless you sort my security out. So it was a dilemma because he desperately wanted them to have this reunion with his father.
Yeah.
But if they turn up and they carry on all these engagements, then he's undermining his own argument, isn't he? He's saying, look, okay, you didn't give me the security and here they are and it's gone okay.
Yeah.
So a tough one.
Yeah, did Meghan... You're nicer than I am, Sarah. You're a lot nicer than me because I'm thinking Meghan didn't turn up because she didn't want to get booed by people.
Well, there's certainly that theory that she didn't want a negative reception. And we know when she's been here in the past, when she was here for the Platinum Jubilee and I was outside St Paul's and there were certainly boos. There were cheers, but there were certainly boos for them. There were a few people in the crowd on the long walk in Windsor who didn't give her the warmest of receptions after the death of the Queen. Others who took it as a positive, you know, wanted to see the four back together. But I think this is the one country where she will be most concerned about the kind of reception she's going to get. And Harry knows when he comes back, people want to see him again. Harry still has that kind of credit in the bank with the British public. It is different for Meghan, and people are very, very divided when it comes to Meghan. You're either Team Sussex or you're not. And if you're not, you really aren't. So I think there would have been concerns. Also a theory that perhaps, given that Harry had this big loss in the High Court this week, that she didn't want to be associated with that because it's not good for the brand, doesn't want to be a part of the toxicity and the circus around it because she's very much trying to build her own brand, lifestyle, all positive. But also the real fears, and I do genuinely think they have major fears about security, and particularly when it comes to Meghan and the children and not wanting to be seen out and about. So, you know, she managed to get in. She was undetected. They got to Highgrove. Harry was seen leaving Althorp House, the Spencer family home, on Saturday. We know he wanted to take Meghan and his children to visit his mother's grave. Whether or not that has taken place over the weekend, we can only assume. But we haven't seen them.
Everything is digital now, isn't it? Your money, your photos, even your loyalty card at the coffee shop. So there's something quietly brilliant about owning one thing that isn't on a screen. Real gold bullion. The weight of it, the shine, it's just a lovely thing to hold. The Pure Gold Company, which was voted the UK's best gold broker, makes owning physical gold really simple. Tax-free gold coins from the Royal Mint with friendly one-to-one guidance from your first question to final delivery. There's no jargon, no pressure, no call centre queues. It's insured to your door or stored in a secure professional vault. So visit the Pure Gold Company today and tell them JJ sent you. Well, what about Queen Camilla, because I was told before she wouldn't be having any audience with them. And understandably, Harry called her a villain, said she was the third person.
Wicked stepmother.
Wicked stepmother. In Spare, he was saying that he and William begged Charles not to marry her. But yet she was there holding the king's hand and being the dutiful wife.
Yeah, she's been there on 2 occasions. She was there when Harry flew back after the king's cancer diagnosis was revealed. She wasn't at the meeting in September of last year, but she was there then. And that's significant. Yes, it on the surface paints a picture of, we're welcoming them back in, happy families. But also I think she's pretty shrewd woman. She's very savvy, Queen Camilla, and she's there and she's keeping an eye on things, supporting the king, but also, that watchful eye over the situation as well.
Well, what about William and Catherine? Where does this leave them? Because they were very busy doing lots of other things, polo, charity matches, Wimbledon.
Very visible.
Very visible.
Visibly busy doing other things.
Yeah. But how are they going to feel the fact that Harry and Meghan came back in this whirlwind and got a lot of media attention and
not always the right media attention, though, was it? I mean, this wasn't the sort of glorious homecoming.
Yeah.
I think it's difficult for them because while the king does want to heal those wounds with Harry, it's a very different story when it comes to William. I don't see any sign of any kind of forgiveness between the 2 brothers. I mean, Harry himself talked about it in his interview last year, didn't he? There are some in the family who will never forgive me. And I think William is in that position at the moment. And so, yes, we saw William and Catherine at the polo. We saw the whole family out at Wimbledon, at the men's singles final. I think that's one of the reasons why it's better that it was at Highgrove, not at Windsor, not just down the road. Oh, so close and yet so far.
Yeah.
But I think it difficult because I think they're happier with Harry and Meghan being in California, and once they're back here, of course, it puts all the scrutiny back on that family rift, on the row, on all of the things that have been said instead of the work that they're trying to get on and do.
Do you think Harry wants to move back to the UK?
No.
No, really?
I don't think he does. I mean, certainly Meghan definitely
does not want
doesn't.
to move here.
I think Harry would love to have what he proposed in the first place, which was this half in, half out. You can live in California, make a living for yourself, but come back in and do these charitable engagements. Things like the Well Child Awards that he was doing last week, Scotty's Little Soldiers, the charity for bereaved military children, Invictus Games, for example. And this model that played out this week, apart from the row over where he was going to stay and everything else, is exactly what he wanted. To be able to do the philanthropic work, the charity work, the appearances, but still have his own life in California. It's kind of what they've been doing when they went to Australia and had the tour.
But the Queen didn't want them to do this.
The Queen absolutely said no.
So they're going against her agreements.
Well, they are, but they're doing it on their own terms and they're paying for it themselves.
Yeah.
So they're sort of striking their own, they're finding their own way of doing these pseudo-royal visits.
Yeah.
I mean, when you see Harry visiting the Children's Hospital this week, I mean, to all intents and purposes, that was his old life.
Yeah.
And actually we saw the old Harry. He is brilliant with children. When he does the Well Child Awards, he's been involved with Well Child since, I think, 2007. He absolutely comes to life. He loves this. Invictus Games, he talks about his military family and the Invictus family. I mean, happier family times than he has had with his own family.
Yeah.
But he's really passionate about that. And we see him and we see that passion and we see the spark again that we've been missing for so long. And actually this week, yes, he lost the court case and we did have this statement. But when he came out and did the public engagements, he sort of put a big smile on his face and just got on with it.
Well, with the court case, is this going to financially ruin him?
Difficult, whether or not he had insurance for this. I mean, it was a very expensive case, £50 million for this case. He and 6 other claimants. I think Harry, of course, being the most high profile, was it wise to get on board with this case obviously, for those fighting the case and for the lawyers, brilliant, let's get Prince Harry on board. This makes it really high profile. But this was a really tough one to win, and they lost it in a big way, didn't they, on all counts? And I think it's bruising for him as well, because this was his last big case.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like there's any grounds for appeal whatsoever. And so where does he go from here? Does he carry on, this big crusade that he's got to reshape the media landscape? Or does this draw a line now?
He looks, as a journalist, it feels as if he just hates the press and he wants to burn us to the ground, and he thought this would be the start of it with the Daily Mail. And unfortunately, we're not going anywhere.
And that's a deep-rooted sense of loathing that he has for the press, for the tabloid press, for paparazzi, as we know, because he does... and you can see why, because he talks about his childhood and the scars that he bears from his childhood and, being chased by paparazzi when they were on a ski holiday, for example.
Yeah.
Obviously, the devastating impact that had on his mother, the death of his mother while being chased by paparazzi in Paris. It is a real deep-rooted loathing that he has. And I think that has played out through these court cases, but also the level of paranoia that he has talked about feeling when stories about him ended up in the papers. But as has come out from this court case, you might not like what you've seen, but it doesn't mean that it's illegal.
Yeah.
You might not like the stories that are out there. It doesn't mean that they were unlawfully gathered.
Yeah.
And I think for Harry, this could be the end of a chapter. We don't know where it goes next. He'll obviously have a lot of conversations to have with his lawyers.
If you were advising Harry and Meghan, what would you tell them to do next?
Do what you're good at. Do what you're good at. Meghan...
Well, what's Meghan good at?
Well, she is good at making jam and
Stop laughing.
arranging.
Stop laughing.
But
It's a serious question. What is she good at?
I don't have a problem with what Meghan is now doing in California, because she's kind of gone back to her roots. This is a bit like she used to do with the TIG. It's not harming anyone. Yes, she might be mocked for some of it at various points, but actually, go out there and make a living for yourself.
But we're told that her Ever After brand is not making money.
It's really hard to tell, isn't it? Because, of course, they will put out that, it's a massive sellout, etc., and that she's going to expand. But we don't know the figures. We haven't seen the accounts. Certainly, she's got a lot of people talking about it, because everything that they do gets a lot of people talking about it.
Yeah.
But you know what? If she wants to do that and to try and make a living, I have no problem with that. In fact, that's exactly what they need to be doing. They've got a very expensive lifestyle in California. The security bills are through the roof. And Harry is really, really good at these charitable endeavours that he takes on.
But that doesn't pay the rent.
It doesn't pay the bills. So she's got to pay the bills. She's got to be the breadwinner now. I mean, look, he's not on the bread line, is he? It's not as if he came to it, with an overdraft. He had plenty of money. They have a very nice life.
Yeah.
They do have a very expensive lifestyle. And, if she wants to carry on doing what she's doing, great. And Harry is really, really good at those things. The Invictus Games is absolutely brilliant. And if it enables him to have more time to do that, then I'm all for it.
Well, speaking of the Invictus Games, we said last week on the show it may end up getting cancelled because they're struggling to get sponsors on board. The UK government has pledged, I think, 24 million, but the Invictus have got to match that. So far, the government's given them 3 million quid. They're a long way off hitting their target. Do you see a future for it? It's a great endeavour, but
I've checked this with Harry's people. They're saying 100% not true. All is fine. But look, I really desperately hope the Invictus Games has a future, because it is a brilliant initiative. This is Harry's crowning glory, if you like, because he came at this from, a position of knowledge. This was something he knew about, having served in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
He has seen the impact that it has had on so many veterans. He went to the Warrior Games. He saw how much of a difference that could make, and he wanted to do it himself. And it's doubled in size. It's got 26 countries taking part versus the 13 that started. 1 in 10 of those who took part in it said that it had helped save their life because it has given them a focus and a purpose when life feels pretty bleak.
Yeah.
So it is brilliant, and we have to hope that it does survive. But like all of these big sporting events and like all charities, it is suffering, and there is financial scrutiny on it. Invictus Australia has pulled its funding.
Yeah.
We know that there were questions over the Vancouver costs being so high and whether it was really worth it. So they are going to be feeling the pressure. But, is it worthwhile? Absolutely. You ask anyone who takes part in it, it makes a big difference. And that is the real big thing that Harry has taken away into his new life and managed to continue, that you can't say isn't a success. It's a big success for those involved.
Okay. Well, Andrew Loney, the Royal Bugfer, he says the Sussexes should be stripped of their titles, and Beatrice and Eugenie, they should lose their titles as well. How do you feel about that?
Look, Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, absolutely, 100%. I think we have to think about Harry and Meghan, and in the context, they tend to get lumped in. We talked about the Dukes of Hazzard, haven't we, with Prince Harry and Prince Andrew. I mean, they don't even bear comparison.
No, they do not.
They really do not bear comparison. Yeah. Yes, they've aired their dirty laundry in public. That has caused harm. Is there an appetite from the king to strip them of their titles? No. We've always been told it's not in the king's power. It takes an act of parliament. We've seen with Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor that there are ways around this, and there are ways. But I just don't think there is the appetite to do it. And I think there is a wish to bring them a little bit closer in rather than push them further away.
Well,
look what happens when you push them away.
True.
It doesn't work out that well.
Well, what happens when William becomes king?
That's a whole different ballgame.
William does have an appetite to strip them of their titles, I think. And he could punish Harry and Meghan with that one move.
He could, but would it look churlish? Does he actually just need to be the bigger man, rise above it and get on with the job? Because it's going to be a really tough job for him. Does he actually just distance himself as he is now and say, you know what, I've got a big role to do. I've got those around me that I trust to support me. Yes, it's a much slimmer royal family, and we will see that gap when William becomes king, because we've got Sophie and Edward, but they're in their 60s now. Beatrice and Eugenie no longer involved. Zara, great, brilliant when she comes out, supported him at a garden party, but doesn't want to be a working royal. And the children are still young, and they will want the children to have the opportunities that they had to go off and do their own thing and make a choice about when they become working royals. So he's going to feel that gap, but I think he's just going to have to crack on with it. And if it were me advising them, just leave it. Just leave it. Least said, soonest mended.
Right. Finally, Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor.
Yes.
The police who are investigating him are now going to speak to Virginia Giuffre's family as well. Do you think, whether it's 10 years from now, that Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor is ever going to find himself in court in front of a judge having to answer proper questions, or are we just going to keep on having these reports coming out? Oh, he's being investigated for this, but nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to be done. He's not going to be extradited to the US. He won't be forced to sit and explain himself. It's just going to keep getting pushed into the long grass.
It really depends what is found from this police investigation, and multiple police forces all looking into this, started by Thames Valley Police, but we've got multiple different police forces involved. And, it is going to be a very lengthy, very complicated investigation. And we're also looking back quite a long way in time. I mean, I think it's surprising perhaps that they haven't interviewed Virginia Giuffre's family until now, but it just shows the pace at which this is moving. I mean, did we ever think he was actually going to get arrested?
No.
And that early morning raid on his home in Sandringham, we didn't anticipate that. And so I think, it's pretty hard to predict on this one. Virginia Giuffre's family have made it clear, they actually think that what's happening in the UK, why isn't that happening in the United States? Why is the accountability all happening here in the United Kingdom and not in the US, where a lot of these crimes by Jeffrey Epstein were committed? So it'll be very interesting how that that next stage of the investigation goes. But I mean, for Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, I mean, you know, he's in exile. Life is pretty grim anyway. He's living on the Sandringham estate. Very few visitors. We did see him out and about with Edward and Sophie recently. He did manage to go away for a few days to France. So, I mean, I don't think we can feel too sorry for him. But wow, how the mighty have fallen.
Yeah. But you're absolutely right. I think the public see Harry and Andrew in the same light when they've both done
I wonder if that has
things.
shifted. I think the last year with Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor has, I think, opened up the gap between the perceptions of the two of them and the damage that has been done to the royal brand by Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor.
It's infinitely worse than anything Harry's done.
Vast.
Yeah.
Absolutely vast, and could continue to be so. And I think when you look at it like that, you think, okay, was it so bad? Yes, it's been embarrassing. Yes, it's been difficult. Yes, there is a lot of hurt and distrust. Yes, it's done some damage to the royal family, and there have been some very damaging allegations. But in the scheme of things, they've got far bigger things to be worrying about.
Yeah, like Harry's frozen todger.
Did you have to bring that one up again? I think we just all managed to wipe that from our minds, JJ. Clearly right at the forefront of yours still.
Sarah Hewson, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Like, share, subscribe, comment. And if you're on Spotify, give us a 5 stars. Go on. Thanks. Bye-bye. Right, a quick pause in the podcast to tell you about our sponsor, Incogni. You had those phone calls from numbers you don't recognise, or you go in your inbox and there's emails for stuff you did not sign up for. Well, that's because someone somewhere is selling your private information. That's where today's sponsor comes in, Incogni. They will contact these people who have been taking your information and they'll say, oi, stop, delete it. Go to the website, incogni.com. You type in the details. 2 minutes later, Incogni are sorting it out for you automatically. And because I love you, I've got you a discount. It ain't 10%, it ain't 20, 60% off. 60% off an annual Incogni plan. Just go to incogni.com/Daily Expresso or click the link in the episode description box below.